When an employee gets locked out of their account 10 minutes before a critical meeting, they are not able to submit that ticket. They can't open a portal, and they can't email IT because they can't log in. The phone is the only option left. And in most organizations, that call lands in a queue, or it hits a menu that can't parse what they said, or it even goes unanswered because it's 7 a.m. and the desk doesn't open until 8. The moment your employees need support the most is the one that your current system is handling the worst. And this has been the situation for well over 20 years. Every attempt to fix it with voice has made it slightly worse. Press 1 for IT, press 2 for HR, say a keyword. Sorry, I didn't understand that. So in the next half hour or so, we're going to show you what happens when voice actually works. It's not another IPR with a new coat of paint. This is a real conversation with an AI that understands what an employee is trying to say across IT, HR, and anywhere else they need to go. You'll get to see the product, you'll see the economics, and you'll leave with a realistic picture of what it takes to roll this out. My name is Rob O'Brien. I'm creative director over here at Rezolve.ai, and I'm going to be your host for the next half hour. Quick housekeeping, the session is being recorded, so everyone registered is going to get the video in their inbox later today. I'm also live in the chat right now, so make sure you drop your questions in and reactions as they come up. So I've got two people with me today. Saurabh Kumar, he's the CEO of Rezolve.ai, and Josh O'Brien, who is our head of generative AI. Guys, why don't you take a minute to introduce yourself?
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Saurabh Kumar. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Rezolve, based out of our San Francisco Bay Area office, and welcome to the webinar.
Hi, guys. My name's Josh. I lead the generative AI initiatives at Rezolve AI, based out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Been with the company for about 4 years. Before that, I did manage a help desk, so I know your pain.
That's exactly right. Well, I appreciate both of you guys being here with me today. So the question we want to answer today is simple. If voice is the most natural way for an employee to ask for help, why has every enterprise tool built around it been the worst part of their day? And what does it take to change that? So Saurabh, I'm going to start with you today. The premise behind this session is that voice is the most natural and most underbuilt channel in the enterprise employee support. Why is that still true in 2026 when every other channel has been rebuilt 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, I think there's a few different reasons for it. One is purely technological. The prior generation of technology that was trying to address voice was built on very clunky IVR-based systems that were really not intuitive in how you and I converse, right? They were really very scripted, very rigid, not intuitive, not intelligent at all, and their functionality was super limited. So what that did was people just did not want to call, right? I would rather like pick up my laptop and walk across the building to the next building and get help with someone in IT over there than try to call them, right? And I think that as natural as talking is, that interaction was not that, right? It was just a very clunky interaction. So the technology was not there. And then secondly, I think voice has been primarily deployed in customer service in most companies. And most platforms that existed came out of that world. They were managed by a different organization. The financial economics and the feature set were never built for employee support. So they were going to cost you millions of dollars to deploy for employee support, which is a use case that's very specialized. It connects to different systems, needs different capabilities. So the fact that you were trying to adopt a very large, very heavy customer-facing system and trying to use it for employee support just didn't sit well, and both the economics and the feasibility of making it work were just never there. So those were, I think, the 2 reasons that really hampered the adoption of voice for employee support use cases.
Sure, Josh, and following on that, from the build side, when your team was looking at what was broken about voice AI, what would you say was the single architectural decision that you guys made that existing systems hadn't?
That's a tough question, but I think I would answer that to say that rather than just answer an employee's questions, we thought it was important for the voice agent to be able to take actions just like a chat agent would. And that can be complex. There can be some concerns around security. How do you validate someone's identity before you take an action over the phone if they're just calling from the phone number? I would say definitely giving the voice, the AI voice assistant, the ability to take actions in a way that's secure enough for an enterprise to actually use. Because you can have the the technology today is there to be able to do things, but I think the question on that is how do you secure that in a way that works at an enterprise level? And so we spent a lot of time talking around that on my team.
Sure. Saurabh, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think I would say the number one thing that you have to stay focused on is what are people trying to call in for and build from that, right? And as Josh said, some of those use cases they're not simple, right? They are complex, they're advanced, they need security, they need authentication. So you have to build and design a stack that can handle that, and it can sit within the existing ecosystem of authentication or ticketing or other systems a company uses. It's not an isolated thing that you can do whatever you want.
So Saurabh, for a leader in IT or HR or anywhere in shared services thinking about this or watching this, and they're thinking about their own service desk, what's the honest starting point? Like, which calls should they put through Voice AI first, and which ones should stay with the human for now?
The top 2 use cases for calling a help desk, the number one by far is I'm logged out of my laptop, because at that point you really have to call, right? And I think your systems, you're logged out of your Windows or your other enterprise accounts, and you really can't get in. You need help, and voice is the natural place to make that work. But that needs to be nuanced, right? There are situations where help is needed urgently, and you need to connect to someone right quickly rather than trying to, try to figure out. So there's nuances to that use case, but being able to reset passwords and being able to create tickets for all other issues, I think are the top 2 use cases I would recommend everyone start with. And like Josh, I used to manage a help desk at one point of time, so have been on the other side of this as well, and can certainly say that is a very heavily utilized need for it.
And Josh, picking up on where Saurabh left off, a caller dials in frustrated or super vague or doesn't even really know what they need and just jumps topics halfway through. What does Rezolve VoiceIQ actually do in that moment that IVR can't?
Sure, yeah. So one thing is ask a follow-up question. If they call and they're talking to it like an IVR and they're like, password, and you've got multiple departments configured to where you could have a password reset or a password lockout action, the assistant can actually come back and say, hey, I understand you're asking something about your password, but what exactly do you need? Are you locked out of your computer? Is there a system that you need access to? Just on the generic thing, follow-up questions is one of the things that IVRs can't do. Another thing that they sort of got better at toward the end was knowing when to escalate, but that was all keyword based, right? So if someone said human or connect me to a person, we've all been there, person, right? On the phone, human, one, pound. We've all done that. So the ability to understand when you're getting frustrated or the ability to know when you're asking for a human and actually do that transfer to the human is something that we obviously can do better than an IVR system.
So how does the system know which department to route that caller to when they haven't explicitly said?
Back to the follow-up questions.
Yep.
I think I can answer that simple.
That's fair. So Saurabh, an economics question for you. When you talk to, let's say, a VP of IT who's already spent all kinds of money on a voice pilot that did not deliver, and you tell them, hey, Rezolve VoiceIQ can take the calls that their live agents are currently handling at full cost, what's the part of that conversation that actually changes their mind?
Yeah, so when specifically talking the economics of what the platform looks like, right, I would say on an average.
Yep, looks like we lost him for just a minute. Let's see if we get him back here.
Okay.
Voice call over Rezolve.
Would you repeat that last sentence? Yeah, we lost you for just a second. Would you repeat what you said?
Voice calls handled by Rezolve are about 1/10 of the cost, fully loaded cost for handling the call with a human agent, right? So if you think about it, the economics just makes sense on that basis. But you have to look at the entire cost of ownership, right? What does it cost to implement initially? How do you maintain it ongoing, right? And this is the point I was making earlier, is that we built a platform designed for employee support. So the idea of multiple internal departments, how to do these common use cases, how to escalate it to people, all of that is built into the platform. So it's very easy to get started in a couple of weeks and immediately start generating the ROI you need to handle these calls through the platform. And then these use cases and integrations are pre-built into the platform, so you're not doing a major 6-month-long services project to get this all stood up and running. So from an IT help desk perspective or an HR service desk perspective, the fact that this is specialized and the fact that it already has all of the integrations and use cases built in, and the fact that it's smart enough to just figure out what the users are trying to do, allows you to generate a high ROI like right away. And obviously, as a vendor, we price it on a usage basis, in the sense how many calls we're getting. So it makes the economics very shared in how the platform monetizes itself by when it's used, and it's only used when it's useful.
Sure. So there are two things on the table from the last several minutes. And one, the problem hasn't been the voice, or the idea of voice. It's really been the implementation of it. Two, the fix isn't more keywords or deeper menus. It's a system that can actually hold a conversation across whatever an employee needs and actually do something about it by the end of the call, which is why I'm going to hand this off to Josh, and he's going to walk us through it right now. Josh, why don't you take it?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to start with showing the platform here, guys, or do you want me to start with the call?
No, please do.
All right. Sorry about the screen there. So we'll start with a quick overview of the platform. I'll go through this real quick, so don't worry. I know I'm normally winded on these things. This is a dashboard. It's a pretty simple dashboard. It shows your average duration, sentiments, number of calls. Really simple to average duration. Really simple dashboard where you can come get a high-level view of how many calls you've had over a certain period of time. Live calls is a really awesome tool we'll get into in a minute. You can see real live time transcriptions as calls are happening. Call logs, pretty self-explanatory here. There are some cool things, is that you can see the outcome, whether it was resolved, whether there was a ticket created, whether it was transferred. If you click into this, you can actually see the transcript from the conversation. So this is a conversation that came through earlier. I think that was our test call right before this one, where we were making sure everything was up and running in our environment, ready to go. Departments, this is where you can get to the configuration. We have the ability to add multiple different departments. When you enable more than one department, you have an AI routing assistant that transfers you and shows you to the different departments. We've got, in this one, you can see we've got IT, human resources, finance. On the assistant identity, this is where you configure your identity and some of the policies that you may have. So you can configure the voice, you can configure your company name, whether you want it to greet a caller by name, whether you want it to decline unrecognized callers, allow small talk, refuse an offer escalation if it's an unsupported conversation type.
Right.
Human handoff is exciting. This is where we talked about earlier, where if the AI detects or you ask for a human, we can transfer to a particular phone number that you may have if the AI isn't able to resolve the issue or the human appears frustrated. These are some out-of-the-box connections we have. Obviously, we have the ability to expand on these based on your use case. For the demo purposes today, we'll be showing integration with Okta and Rezolve. And then you have the people screen. User management are the people that can manage the platform. Callers are the people that can call it. And from there, I think we'll just dive right into a call. How's that sound, everybody?
Sounds really good.
All right. So if you guys could withhold speaking so we don't over talk each other on this.
Sure.
Hi, Joshua. Thank you for calling. How can I help you today?
Hi, I forgot my password.
No worries, Joshua. I can connect you to our IT support department to help you reset that password. Shall I go ahead and transfer you now?
Actually, I have a question about finance.
Sure thing, Joshua. I can connect you to our finance department for your question. Would you like me to transfer you over now?
Yeah, sure.
All right, Joshua. I'm here to help with your finance question. Could you let me know what specific question or issue you have?
Actually, I want to go back to IT. I forgot my password.
Let's get that password reset for you. I'll start by verifying your identity. Could you please provide your full name and the email address associated with your account?
Yeah, my name is Joshua O'Brien, O''Brien, and my email address is josh@Rezolve.ai. That's REZOLVE.ai.
Your name and email are confirmed, Joshua. To complete verification, I need to send you a verification code. Would you prefer to receive it by phone call or email?
You can just go ahead and send me an email.
Got it. I'll send your verification code via email. One moment, please. I've just sent the verification code to your email. When you have it, please read the code back to me, and we can move forward with resetting your password.
Okay, the code is 562388.
Thanks, Joshua. I'll go ahead and confirm that code now. One moment, please. It looks like the code didn't match. You still have 2 attempts left, so could you double check your email and read the code back to me once more?
Yeah, sorry, I got the last 2 numbers mixed up. They're actually 99.
No problem, Joshua. Let's try again. The code you provided is 562399, right? I'll confirm that now. All set, Joshua. I've sent a password reset email to Josh to set up a new password. If you don't see it right away, check your spam folder just in case. Is there anything else I can help you with today?
Yeah, can you connect me back to the finance department?
Of course, Joshua, I can do that. I'll transfer you back to the finance department now. I apologize, Joshua. It seems I misspoke earlier. I'm already with the finance department and can assist with your finance-related questions. What would you like to discuss?
What kind of things can you help me with?
I can assist with a range of finance topics, including submitting expense reports, reimbursement timelines, eligible expenses, company credit card procedures, coding expenses, submitting vendor invoices, requesting purchase orders, business travel booking policies, and who to contact about invoice or billing discrepancies. Let me know which area you'd like to focus on, and I'll be happy to help.
I actually want to create an IT ticket.
Sure thing, Joshua. I can create an IT ticket for you. Could you provide a brief summary of the issue you're facing and any additional details you'd like to include?
My computer won't turn on.
Got it, Joshua. So the issue is that your computer won't turn on. Do you have any additional details about what you've tried so far, like checking the power cable or battery?
I checked the battery, and this is high priority for me. I've got a meeting in the next half hour.
Thanks for the details, Joshua. I'll create a ticket with the summary computer won't turn on and include that you've already checked the battery. Since this is high priority, I'll mark it as such. Let me take care of that for you. One moment, please. Joshua, your high priority ticket has been created and logged with the IT team. They'll reach out as soon as possible to help you get your computer running again. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
Nope, that's it. Thank you. Bye. All right, guys, I think that wraps that up. I stopped sharing.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane. So, do you have anything to say about what we just saw?
No, I mean, this is so much faster and so much simpler than even a consumer experience, right? How many times have you called in one department, they transfer you to another department because you got to the wrong place, the next place has no idea who you are? It was a much simpler experience, not just with the core task that Joshua was trying to do with his password reset and high priority laptop ticket, but also like the fact that he could get to anywhere else in the organization and get the rest of the service done. I think it's pretty remarkable how fast, efficient, and positive a user experience that is.
Yeah, it seemed like a long call on my end. Like I kept switching between departments and asking for a password reset, and I messed up the PIN number, and then I asked to create a ticket. In reality, that all happened in 4 minutes.
Cross departments as well, which is just, to me, yeah, that's absolutely fascinating. Like, dude, I just wish my bank had the same technology. But so, so now that we've shown you the product and you've heard Saurabh frame the why and you've watched Josh run it, before we close out, I really want to bring them both back for some of the questions we hear every time we have this conversation. because I can almost guarantee that some of these are already on your mind right now. So in every conversation we have about this product, the questions come up without fail. And I want to get these 3 questions come up without fail. And I just want to put them all on the table. So Saurabh, the first one, before a CIO is going to sign off on a tool that's making API calls to Okta or Entra ID on behalf of these employees, creating tickets, pulling HR data, what does the security and compliance story need to look like? Because that's one of the most important things.
I would say two things there, right? As a policy or as a how you do it, the system here is designed to mimic how your human agents are working. So if you do multi-factor authentication, or if you send temporary passwords, or if you look up data in a certain system and ask certain questions, all of that is how you would do it here. This is not reinventing your security policies or processes. It is adapting to your existing security policy and however your security posture is, right? So I think that's really important, that in that sense, it works like any other person you would have hired and brought onto your team. So think of it as another agent that's answering the phone that you've just hired into the organization. The second thing is, as a vendor, we obviously have to take this very seriously. So everything we do in the platform, as a company, we are SOC 2, HIPAA, GDPR, ISO 27001 certified. We, as a vendor, we take these things very seriously, and everything we do aligns with the idea of high privacy, high security, and a lot of best practices that go in with that.
So Josh, second question is for you. For a company that's already committed to, say, ServiceNow or JIRA for their ITSM, or Okta or Entra for identity, or even Calendly for scheduling, does Rezolve VoiceIQ sit in front of that stack, or does it replace pieces of it?
I would sit right in front of it, meaning that we can become the voice layer to those platforms. If you want to create a ticket in JIRA, we can do that. If you want to schedule an appointment in Calendly, we can do that. We can sync users from ServiceNow, create tickets in ServiceNow. And then, of course, we've got our own ITSM platform we're really proud of, too, that we can integrate with.
And so, the last one's for you. Enterprise software has earned a reputation for it'll be great in about 6 quarters. So what does the actual path from signed contract to employees dialing a real Rezolve VoiceIQ number look like? And what has to be true on the customer side for it to happen so fast?
Yeah, I will say, as I was saying, we're talking about weeks, not months, right? I think that is really how we think about VoiceIQ as a platform. And every other large organization that I've talked to that has done a big CCaaS or a big voice IVR implementation, they talk about in months, not maybe even in years, right? I think that's just how different we are when it comes to that. So as I said, the reason for that is the platform is adapted to this space, and it's designed to be done very quickly. So from signing to going live, few weeks. In terms of readiness on the organization, making sure we understand the security policies, we understand the core use cases, we understand some integrations into things like Okta or Entra or your core ITSM, right? Those are the readiness steps that we would need to do, but they're not rocket science, right? They are things that are generally readily available in the technology world. I would also say our team runs something called DeskIQ that actually analyzes your prior service desk tickets and history. And if anyone here is interested in that, we could do that analysis and generate a very clear analysis on what can we automate for voice being a part of it.
Well, guys, any final thoughts before we close out?
I'm just excited for the voice platform that we've built. Excited to have people who aren't currently using it give it a shot. I know as a service desk manager, there's quick wins like password reset that weren't difficult, but man, were they high volume, and did they interrupt my flow? Or if I was at lunch and I had to get back to my desk, or if you're running a smaller enterprise or something, or excuse me, a smaller organization, that would impact you. Or even worse, paying somebody, an organization, a third-party help desk, $15 to touch that ticket and check a box and an Active Directory to reset a password. Always burned me. So
well, the one thing, no, please, Saurabh.
Yeah, I was going to say one last thing I will say is the platform is designed to be adapting to your brand and your organization. So one of the things we really do is the actual voice of the voice, right? Is something that can be configured. So if your organization has a very happy, cheerful personality, or you're a very formal, professional kind of style, the voice, the style, all of that, like the software aspect of how the platform works, can also be. I actually find that quite interesting, that aligns to the brand and how you deliver service, right? So the style of the system, it's not like the same monotonous, like robotic voice all the time. So for whatever that's worth, if that's of interest to anyone, it'll be interesting to check it out.
Absolutely. So the one thing I want everybody to take out of this session is, if you take nothing else, is that the call that your employees are making at 7 a.m. from a locked laptop is not a low value interaction. It's the moment that your service delivery is being judged. And in most organizations, it's being judged on a 20-year-old piece of infrastructure that nobody really likes. You run IT or HR or employee experience. The people calling you aren't your customers. They're the people who work there. They can tell when the tool you gave them respects their time, and they can tell when it doesn't. If anything you've heard today makes you want to see Rezolve VoiceIQ running on your own call types with your own integrations and your own hardest tickets, make sure you get in touch with us. We'll have a real conversation, about 30 minutes long, and bring the call that you wish was already automated, and we'll talk through what that would take. The follow-up email after this session is going to have a direct link where you can book some time with our team. And that's it. That's the whole pitch. Every call answered, and most of them are resolved. Josh, Saurabh, thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Thank you for taking me through the product. And to the audience, thank you so much for spending this time with me. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.